Hello, my friends. This is Drake, and this is Touching the Edge, and this is the aftermath of the election. Let's take a nice breath in. Big sigh. I'll let the breathing. Get back to normal. Eyes opening. So welcome to this post-election day, a post-election process. At least to some degree. At least we're over some part of the hurdle. I'm so happy to see you, and I want to share a story with you. It may seem an odd story, but I'd like to share it with you. It's about Paul Newman. So a lot of you know, if you've been with me or been connected with me at any length of time, that I used to love Paul Newman, and I love those performers who seem to have a lot of class. I talk about Cary Grant. He's another one of those guys that really seem to carry a real grace about him. Also Sidney Poitier is another one. One of those great actors who really seem to carry a real grace about them in an acting with class. And Paul Newman was one of those guys. The movie Cool Hand Luke was one of my all-time favorite movies. So when he passed away, I was very cognizant of it, and I happened to be listening to NPR when he passed away, and I heard a woman call in and give an interesting story that I'd like to share with you. She said that she was in a small town on the east coast of America, and she went into an ice cream parlor, which was a small ice cream parlor. And in there, at the counter, was Paul Newman. There was the clerk, and Paul Newman was sitting having a milkshake or sundae or whatever at the counter. So she wanted to act like it was no big deal that this was Paul Newman. So she went and ordered her ice cream cone. She got an ice cream cone and got a scoop of ice cream. And she paid no particular attention to Paul Newman and walked out. And by the time she got to her car, and she was about to get in her car, she realized she didn't have the ice cream cone. And she was astounded. Where did the ice cream cone go? She went back into the room, or into the store, and she walked in, and she has this quizzical look on her face. And she said that Paul Newman leaned towards her and said, "It's in your purse." It's in your purse. That just cracked me up at the time, and she opened it up and there was the ice cream cone in her purse. And it said so much. It said so much about the twinkle in his eye, that he had this kind of humorous side to him. It said so much about, so many different levels. One of them, for me, is it speaks to nonlinear de-escalation. So if you found that story to be humorous at all, and I find it to be humorous, a lot of people do, if you do find it to be humorous, there's a split second where you don't expect what's going to happen. No one expects her to have the ice cream cone in her purse, or at least most people don't. And in that moment of surprise, there's a succession of what we're holding on to. No matter who you wanted to win the election, no matter what outcomes you wanted, or what outcomes you want in the world, for that moment, if you can really embrace the joke, and it is a joke, it's a funny story, if you can embrace the humor of it, for a moment you let go of everything you hold on to. For that moment you give yourself a break. That is a de-escalation. That's a non-linear de-escalation. And so I just want to encourage you in this next period of time to remember to laugh. Have a twinkle in your eye. Even in the midst of all that is happening, don't forget to laugh. And I'm not talking in a mean-spirited, dark joy sort of way. I'm talking about a way that kind of makes you laugh at life itself. We have to fall in love with life. Yes, we need a reconciliation, but we need a reconciliation that's not just about us as a body politic, but a reconciliation about each of us in our relationship to life itself, where we fall in love with the joy of being alive. So I'm asking you to be part of this shifting, this aftermath of the election. And by the way, I also want to have an element. I'd like to also bring up one more element before we go. Now, this mission, should you choose to accept it, and if you know me well, you know that with my clients, there'll often be a point where I'll say that this mission, should you choose to accept it, and is to focus on the 4 basic values that are expressed in the Lotus Sutra, that being kindness. So really steep yourself in kindness. In this next week or this next day at least, take some time throughout part of the day just to focus on kindness. What does it mean to be kind? What does the word kindness mean? Kindness is about kin, it's about family, it's about oneness. Let's be aware of kindness in this reconciliation process of the election. Be aware of compassion. Compassion. It's not a business relationship. It's not about having compassion for those who have compassion for you. It's realizing that being in compassion ennobles you. It makes you a better person, and it connects you to a larger self. Be aware of joy, and joy is not happiness. Joy can be grounded. Joy is not excitement. I remember oftentimes looking at billboards for the casino, and the person would be going, be aware of joy. Joy is not excitement. That is not joy. Joy is about being on mission and being on point in service. And the final one, and for me, in many ways, the most important one, is positive indifference. Now, when I studied Buddhism, they talked about indifference, but to me, it was a different time, and it's not, the word indifference doesn't mean what it means for us today. Positive indifference is that no matter what happens, we're going to make the best of it. Positive indifference is no matter what happens, we're going to find a way to come back together again. So check out those 4 values in the next day or so, right? And let's be in connection with laughter. I'm going to ring the bell. Please listen carefully. Here we go. So I speak with those elements: kindness, compassion, joy, and positive indifference. And I shine those out in the aftermath of this election. And not to just the people who are happy about it, but also everyone. I have compassion for people who truly feel that we have gone down a different road or a wrong path in this. I have compassion for those people if they are really coming from that heart place. I bring my hands into prayer position. I bow to us all. May we come back together in healing, and may we realize that we have to heal within ourselves before we can shine healing into the world. Namaste. Much love. Thank you.